As a leader, you may be struggling with connecting with people. And a leader who isn't connecting with people is a leader who won't be leading long, because in leadership, relationships are key. Matter of fact, they're foundational. And today, I'm going to show you 3 mistakes that new leaders make with people and how to solve them if you're going to be a leader worth following. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jim at theeverydayleader.biz, and we're here to help new leaders like you increase in their influence, their impact, and create the income that they deserve, whether it be at your business, your entrepreneurial journey, or in your home. We upload new videos each and every week, so remember, hit the subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. Ronald Reagan once said that the leader isn't always the person who does the greatest things. He is the person who helps others do the greatest things. Leadership is all about people, but when a leader isn't building or connecting with their people, they're just asking for trouble. And today we're going to talk about the 3 mistakes that new leaders make with dealing with people or engaging with their people. So let's begin. Number 3 on our list of mistakes new leaders make with their people is not taking time to bond with their people. Building a bond with people is all about relationships. It's all about emotional connections and connections that create memories, and memories create emotional ties. Emotional ties create the trust, create the influence, which creates the ability to lead people. It's all about that deep emotional connection. And maybe you've seen this before. Have you ever been to the circus, like the old school circus, right? When I was a kid, I went to the circus, and I remember seeing this guy come out, and he had all of these plates. He had a cart full of plates, and there was metal bars on there, right? And so I was like, wow, what are they going to do? And now you've probably seen this, and this is years later, so everybody has seen this, but when you're a kid and you first see it, you're like, whoa, you're like enamored by this. And what he would do is he put a plate on, he spin the plate, and he put another plate on, he spin the plate, he put a plate on, he spin the plate. And before long, you had like 20 plates spinning on small little bars. And when you're a kid and you're new to all this, you're like, whoa. I think that's the perfect illustration for what leadership is. It's a bunch of spinning plates, and our job is to keep the plates spinning and make sure that it doesn't fall down and crash. Have you ever felt like that? Let me know in the comments if that's something that you feel, that your leadership has been a bunch of plates spinning and you're just hoping that you don't drop a plate. Well, anyway, so one of the things that should be on those plates is relationship building. Everything else is on those plates too. You've got all the task of a leadership, and that's going to be doing your processes, your systems, you're managing your people and all this stuff. But one of the plates needs to be building relationships, building the bond, building things that are going to create emotional connections. Emotional connections equate over to memories. And one of those plates has to be building memories with your people. Because a leader who doesn't take time to bond with their people, create memories, create emotional connections, are leaders who won't be leading long. Why is that? Because a leader they quit is a leader who did not have any relationship with them. They had no emotional fuel. They had no emotional connection. And because of that, the people walked in the one door and walked out the other door. But you and I are leaders who are worth following, right? I believe you are. If you're a leader worth following, then you're a leader who is going to avoid this mistake by building strong bonds and relationships. Those are the times that are going to be most special to you, because not only is it going to give you stronger relationships with your people where you'll be able to go through any storm, but it's also going to give you reasons to show up and look forward to going to the business that you've started, the entrepreneurial journey that you've created, because now you enjoy it with the people. But without the bonds of emotional connection, you don't enjoy it, they don't enjoy it, and even worse, you can't lead them, I can't lead them. So if you're going to be a leader that is worth following, you have to make intentional time and do things to build the bonds. The second one on this list of 3 mistakes that new leaders make with their people is being inaccessible or unavailable. Being inaccessible and unavailable is about making yourself to the place where you're not free, nobody can contact you, nobody can talk to you unless they somehow catch you in or out and about somewhere, right? Have you ever dialed somebody's phone where you picked out the phone, you dialed the phone number, and all of a sudden it goes to voicemail, whether straight to voicemail or it rings a bunch of times, it goes to voicemail. Hey, this is so-and-so. You've reached this number. Please leave a message after the beep. Beep, it beeps, and then all of a sudden it says, the mailbox you're trying to call is full. Goodbye, and it hangs up on you. Do you know how frustrating that is? If that's frustrating you, hit a like on this post, hit a like on this video, and just show me how frustrating that was to you, because I know every time that I have that, it's incredibly frustrating to me. And I'm going to tell you, if your leadership is like that message machine, you're not going to be a leader for long, because people don't follow untouchable people. People follow people that they're connected to. People follow people they have access to. Does that mean you have to open up your calendar to everybody who asks? Absolutely not. You can open up small time slots of 10, 15 minutes to say, hey, if you need to talk to me, this is how you get a hold of me. Email me. Put your name on my time slot, and then take the time to spend the 10 or 15 minutes with them, or reply to an email. I'm going to tell you, small things like that create big, massive changes in people's life, because now they're like, wow, I'm connected because I had a conversation. Those that are inaccessible or unavailable are those that don't have conversations with people. I follow leaders who are real, authentic, and you can actually reach them if you need to. Now, you want to value your leader's time and not be the guy or the girl out there dialing them up every 45 seconds trying to say, how you doing? How you doing? No, we need to table that crazy and understand we value people's time if we want them to value our time. But be a leader worth following. Be a leader who is accessible, and be a leader who is available. And that can be in small increments, but be that leader. And I'm going to tell you, your influence and impact will magnanimously increase and even multiply, because you now are available and accessible. Even if it's 10-minute sound bites, 5-minute emails, now you're available. Those are the leaders that people follow. The number one thing on the list of 3 mistakes that new leaders make is managing conflict ineffectively. Avoiding disagreements, getting over emotional, or being numb and not emotional at all, being defensive, getting offended, are just examples of how you do not manage conflict effectively. Matter of fact, some of y'all run from conflict. Well, guess what? You can't run from conflict, and you can't overreact to conflict, because either way is unhealthy, ineffective, and will ultimately cause your leadership to fail. You cannot run from conflict. And I need to say that again, because many leaders think that you can run from conflict. You cannot run it, and you cannot beat it with a bat. You need to handle it in a healthy manner, because it's not about, ignoring conflict. It's about managing it appropriately, because conflict will come, but how you manage it will determine you from a decent leader to a poor leader, or from a decent leader to a great leader, based on how you manage that. Let me tell you a good story that I heard one time, and it just really gives a good picture of ineffectual management of conflict. And there's this story about a sage, and the sage was in this small town, thousands of years ago, and he would sit down in the middle of town, and people would ask him questions, and they would bring him problems, and his job was to help them figure these problems out. So one time, these two people brought this problem, and they would go one at a time, and he said, well, that person did such and such and stole my chicken. I deserve it back. And the sage would go, you're absolutely right. And then the second one would come and says, well, this person did this, this, and this, and stole my other chicken. And it was the same person. They were feuding. And he says, you're absolutely right. And then the sage's wife came up and said, how can you say that both of these guys are absolutely right? There's no way to solve a conflict when they're both absolutely right. And the sage would look at her and say, you're absolutely right. See, when you manage conflict ineffectively, and you don't manage it at all, matter of fact, you engage in it very unhealthy, you're just prolonging the inevitable. At some point, you're either going to manage conflict correctly, or conflict will overwhelm you and you're going to react to it inappropriately. If we continue making mistakes and ignore the truth that we're gaining, we lose the opportunity to lead people correctly. We lose the opportunity to gain wisdom. When you are somebody who says, you know what, I'm devoted to leading people, that means you're someone devoted to avoiding these mistakes. You're someone who's devoted to growing through these mistakes, and you're someone who's devoted to understanding these mistakes so that you can be the leader whose influence, impact, and income are all increased because you now are a leader worth following. And avoid the mistakes that we mentioned in this video, and you'll see your leadership ability increase and your goals and mission become much easier to accomplish because now you have an army of people on your side to move forward. So make sure at the end of this, make sure you click the video and learn more tips and tricks on how new leaders can grow and learn to become the best leader that they're able to learn.